Well, looks like it's time for me to get you another jersey, huh?
Do me a favor and please don't get me any more Steelers quarterback jerseys.
Oh my God, we did it!
I don't want to hear it from a guy who's half his fan base is Swifties. Broncos country, let's cry.
Back to the Super Bowl.
Why'd they put the trash cans next to the Cowboys helmet?
You could take it and shove it up your...
Peace!
What I really need to be hearing from you, though, is thank you. This jersey might just stay down here because it's going to be a prop for several things this year.
For several things, huh?
My plan is anytime Wilson has a bad game, just be like, I thought we got rid of you.
Good afternoon, football fans, and welcome back to the Trajan Temple Sportcast Season 4. Season 4. I can't believe we've done this for 3 whole years. Why do we keep doing this to ourselves? We keep coming back for this. Every time
You've done really good throughout this. I've just kind of gone down. Not used to it.
I've got you tied to your chair there too. Once you think you're out, I just drag you right back in, right?
Crazy.
Yes, we are back for another fun, eventful season. It's already been eventful through the free agency market. I mean, good God Almighty, we were talking about how we were going to discuss this, and we've done it in the past where we've split the videos up from AFC and NFC, but this year definitely felt like it was more of a necessity because of all of the moving around so many players have been doing. It's been insanity this past free agency, and I can only imagine how the draft is going to be here in the next few weeks.
I think there's going to be a lot of moves. A lot of teams they broke the bank to win now, and they didn't win now, and now they had to give up those players.
Mm-hmm.
Old Bills. And and so I think those teams are going to have to do draft moves.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even just breaking down the quarterbacks that are coming into this draft, I mean, you can just tell there's going to be 3 or 4 teams moving up, giving away futures to try to get their next franchise quarterback. Will it be the next CJ Stroud, a positive for a team like Houston? Or will it be the next Bryce Young, where it just blows up in your face? But then again, I kind of blame the staff and the ownership of Carolina more than I do Bryce Young. I mean, he was kind of put in a bad situation. We'll see how a Caleb Williams does in a scenario of Chicago, but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here because now we got to go to the AFC side of things, and as you can see right here, we will be starting with the AFC East, and we kind of jabbed at him a little bit a few moments ago, but the Buffalo Bills, it looks, on the outset, pretty even as far as signings and losses, but I think it's pretty one-sided in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I'm glad we waited this long because this took forever to finalize, but the biggest one, I have to say, and you'll probably agree with me, probably Stephon Diggs going away and going to Houston.
I mean, yeah, he just took so much of the defense's attention. I mean, and then Gabe gone too. Mm-hmm. They're putting a lot of faith in what's his name, Shakir or whatever.
And Curtis Samuel now too. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Shakir showed a lot of flashes last year.
Did. It's just you gotta wonder is those flashes because you had those guys opposite of him.
Right.
Yeah, you will see if Josh Allen is really it this season.
Absolutely. Not only just Shakir too. You can't forget you got I about said Dawson Knox, but Dalton Kincaid rather. He showed potentially what he could do. I really wanted him last year. I was so hoping he would fall to Kansas City. So maybe we can get a replacement for Travis Kelce, even though Kelce doesn't want to leave for the next 2 years or so. But hey, at least they got Mitch Trubisky, right?
Yeah, he came home.
He finally came back home.
Kissing them frozen titties.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously the biggest thing, the losses on defense too, or one of the biggest things, excuse me, Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, which officially means that all of the draft picks that the Bills have acquired from 2017, the trade for Pat Mahomes, are gone now. So I think we can safely assume who has won that trade in 2017. I don't think it's even close.
I think that was already decided before.
Way before they were gone, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Gosh, it's just the Bills. I wanted them to have something so bad. I mean, besides the Steelers winning.
I was about to say. I was about to say. I think there was one thing you were.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course I want my team to win, but when it looks like we're not going to win, and let's face it, with Kenny Pickett, it'll look like we're not going to win. I wanted the Bills to do something, and they just let me down. They could not do it.
It really felt like this year their window has slammed shut completely. Like last year, they had it all. I mean, they came back, seemingly from the dead. They took the AFC East from the Dolphins in the final week. They have a home game, a chance to finally slay the dragon in their. I mean, let's face it, they're basically their biggest rival outside of their division, the Kansas City Chiefs. 2020, 2021, we all know what happened there. You go in 2023 postseason, you've got them at home. You got everything that you've wanted. This is probably one of your, more solid teams. There were some injuries, obviously, but that offense was firing in all cylinders. That defense, was coming along, and of course, it had to be the most painful way to go out of the playoffs. A field goal that went wide right. And now the Bills, the tab has come due. The bill is due, and they had to pay for it this year. So this year will be interesting how they can make do with the losses that they had.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because they are definitely in a somewhat strong division outside the Patriots. I mean, the Dolphins are still there. Jets, if Aaron Rodgers does anything this year, maybe.
Well, speaking of the Dolphins, let's go ahead and move on down to them.
So they've added some players. I don't know if they're Jordan Poyer from the Bills. I don't know if there are any real. I don't know if it's going to be the over the top, maybe for their division, but they did lose out on Christian Wilkins, going to another terrible team. I don't know why you would leave to go to that team, and we'll talk about them later. So that's why I'm leaving them out.
Yeah. I mean, you got to give them credit. They did go get a couple solid pieces in Shaq Barrett and Jordan Brooks. Their defense, was it wasn't world bending by any means, but it was good enough for what it was. So. Yeah. I mean, yes, the biggest loss, absolutely 100% Christian Wilkins, because and Xavier Howard, honestly, too. Even though Howard's getting older, he's getting older there, but that's a veteran leader that could have led another year.
Nope.
But if anything, because they lost their defensive coordinator too, right? Vance Joseph, he went to the Eagles, right?
Yeah, it was a weird. Oh no, wasn't it Nick Fangio?
Vic Fangio, sorry. Yep, that's
Yeah, it was a weird.
Some Broncos guy.
Yeah, he went to Philly, and I don't know. But yeah, no, I really don't know.
The Dolphins have been a team built on its offense. I mean, that's just the reality of it too. They've built everything around Tua and Tyreek and Waddle and their running backs. I mean, that's they're a shootout-esque team. They're going to try to score as many points as possible. So defense,
except for when it's cold.
Yeah, exactly. Except when it's cold. When it's cold, it's
they're done.
They're done. Exactly. So, I see the Dolphins probably finishing ahead of the Bills, albeit slightly. Which, that could be enough. They could get revenge, and they may take the division this year.
Yep. One team that has not taken the division this year is the New England Patriots. The old man is gone.
Yep.
We got, what is it? Mayo?
Jared Mayo or Mayo. I don't even know how you pronounce it. Is it Mayo? It's
I'm going with Mayo.
It looks like Mayo. It's got to be Mayo.
But I don't know. I mean, the biggest signings is Jacoby Brissett, Antonio Gibson, Sion Takati.
KJ Osborne. I mean that.
Who's throwing to him?
Exactly.
But then you go to their biggest losses, and it just shows the depth of how depleted this team is. Mm-hmm. Biggest losses, really, Mac Jones, Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, this isn't 2017. Devontae Parker, I mean, yeah, he was still a decent wide receiver, but once again, how do you even judge him in the system because he didn't have a quarterback?
This is like the... Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish the.
No,
I was gonna say this is like the makeshift version of the Over the Hill gang that like the Washington Commanders used to be known for. Like back in the '90s, they would always get players that were like past their prime. I mean, say you had Ezekiel Elliott, you had Mike Gesicki, who they also had, they had oh god, they had a couple tight ends last year, Hunter Henry. There were some others on like the defensive side too. It was just like players like, oh hey, I remember him. He's still playing.
Yeah.
So,
JC
Jackson. Yep. Who left and came back because he signed that big contract with the Chargers, and the Chargers realized, oh, you suck. Oh, you're terrible. Okay, we regret our decisions here. Here, take our money. Just get out of here.
So many regret.
I don't foresee, even though they have 8 draft picks in the draft and they're picking at number 3, I'm sure they will go quarterback.
They have to.
I just don't see in any scenario that they will be competitive, I guess, for the division lead. But it's a revolving door right now for not big names. They're just filling a spot. It seems like they're just filling holes right now instead of making big splashes.
So it says, will the remaining quarterbacks after 1 and 2 are spent on signal callers be worth picking them, or will they just go with Jacoby Brissett, their QB room, and go for Marvin Harrison Jr.? Who's throwing to him?
Is throwing to him, exactly. I could see a scenario where they try to go with Jacoby Brissett as the starter, and then just whoever they get just sits behind him for the year. It rarely ever works when you get that fresh quarterback and just throw him into the fire right off the bat. Like I said, you either could have a CJ Stroud, or I was complaining with AJ Brown for some reason, or a Bryce Young, where you just throw him into the fire and sink or swim. And luckily for CJ, he had young, hungry players that were ready to step up for him. Bryce Young had some veterans that just couldn't gel together. So, and that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of veterans on this team that either need to learn to gel together quickly, or you just got to start from scratch again, full-blown rebuild. So it seems like that's what they need to do.
Yeah, it's not looking good. But you move on to the Jets, and this is like the biggest question mark of the East, or maybe of the AFC, because they could be good, but it all depends on this Aaron Rodgers experiment going good. We didn't see anything last year. But with the Mike Williams pickup, for 7 games, he could be really, really solid.
And as long as Tyrod Taylor doesn't have any rib problems, he should be a solid backup.
Exactly. A lot better than what they had as their backup.
Definitely. God, Minnesota, I'm so sorry.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, Yeah,
Or no, he didn't
needed
go to
that.
Minnesota. That's right. I'm thinking Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold went to Minnesota. Where did Zach Wilson go?
I think he's still on the Jets.
He might be. He might still be on there. I thought he
Yeah.
left. Who knows? But yes, you bring up Mike Williams, obviously veteran wide receiver. You go down to their biggest losses, though. You know, you lose Mekhi Becton, who may be partially responsible for Aaron Rodgers going to. No, I'm kidding. That was not the case. That was MetLife Stadium. Oh my gosh! Can someone please just burn that place to the ground?
Oh gosh.
Or at least the turf. Just burn the turf. That way they got no choice but to add, actual grass and actual, walkable. Something that's not going to snap someone's ankle.
Exactly.
Good Lord. Yeah. No, we didn't get a chance to see what Aaron Rodgers could do. This is his chance to do so. He says he's, more motivated than ever. We'll see if that offensive line that they've pretty much, revamped with Tyron Smith from the Cowboys, John Simpson, Morgan Moses. Let's see if this new look offensive line can protect him, because he has the weapons, with the wide receiver course and all that too, and he's familiar with Nathaniel Hackett's system and everything. So you can't blame the defense, because the defense has actually stepped up in a lot of games for them. So it's all on him now, I'd say, and Salah.
Oh yeah, and Salah. I feel sorry for Salah. I like him, and his heart was ripped out last year.
Oh, absolutely.
He was a dead man. You can just see it in his eyes.
He tried his best with what he had. Alrighty. Well, I know you're itching to talk about this next one, so I'll let you have the floor with the Baltimore Ravens, the runner-ups of the AFC last year.
Oh yes, the Baltimore Ravens, the team that I fear the least in the AFC North. I'm going to say that I'm on record this whole year. No, Baltimore Ravens do not scare me.
You heard it here first, folks.
When have they done anything against the Steelers?
I mean, you're not
When
wrong.
Trubisky was in.
That is true. That is true.
But I mean, they go out and get Derrick Henry, which I will admit, good move.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy for Derrick Henry to get finally off the Titans, go to a team that's actually competitive year in and year out, and don't do head scratching decisions like give away your best wide receiver and for nothing. But I love their biggest losses. I love it. I couldn't believe it when the news broke. So this goes kind of into the Steelers, but that we took Patrick Queen from them. I mean, this was a guy that whenever we played the Ravens, Tomlin spoke on him.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta watch out for Patrick Queen. Number 6, know where he is. We got him. And it's a position that linebacker core that got riddled with injuries. Hopefully he stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He has good football IQ. It's a position of that needed strength that's already kind of strong with TJ Watt, with Highsmith, but that middle, that inside linebacker core, it is going to help. Gus Edwards, I mean, it's not really surprising that he left. They didn't really add anyone new to the mix. They got rid of Dalvin Cook. Didn't do anything.
No.
Devin Duvernay wasn't that good. Jadeveon Clowney might. He was a good.
He could still produce even as he's gotten older too, honestly.
Yeah, he did well for them last year, so that might be missed. I don't know who they got behind him or if they're going to draft. But yeah, no, I think that the Ravens put so much stock into Derrick Henry making this team better, and I just don't see it. They ran the ball good.
Mm-hmm.
They already ran the ball good.
Except they forgot how to run the ball in the AFC Championship game.
You
it's
got
fun.
to hand the ball off.
I put this comparison together. The running back room to the Ravens is what the linebacker room is to the Steelers. Just no one survives. No one survives.
So Derrick Henry, I mean, take care of yourself because you might be screwed.
Absolutely. All right. Well, speaking of screwed, no, I'm kidding. The Bengals are in fact not screwed as long as Orlando Brown Jr. doesn't play. They made a few moves. They got running back Zach Moss, who is a solid number 2 option behind Jonathan Taylor for the Colts. Mike Gesicki, fantastic year with the Dolphins. They get Von Bell and they get Geno Stone. Replacements for their safeties after losing Nick Scott. Now the biggest losses, and this was crazy because I figured he would stay even for an extra year. Joe Mixon going away, and DJ Reader, defensive tackle, who was solid for their pass rush. It's still up in the air for Tyler Boyd.
I don't know why they have him listed as losses because he hasn't really.
Because I guess because he's technically a free agent, he's not part of the team. So I mean that could change if they somehow bring him back, which it sounds like they're sticking with Higgins and Jamar Chase. It could be a factor the Chiefs may go after Boyd's, considering the circumstances behind a certain number wide receiver. I won't say his name, but his number matches the amount of Super Bowls we have.
The one that just got a warrant out for his.
I am aware of this. Save from when we get down to them. But the Bengals, obviously a lost year for them last year. They came so close once again the previous year, getting to the AFC Championship game. Joe Burrow getting injured obviously killed any hope that they had to make a deep run in the playoffs. Although, got to give credit to Jake Browning. Yes, his efforts were definitely commendable. I can't disagree with that. But
they were still a winning team last year.
They were. But a difference between a winning team and a championship team is kind of in the hands of Joe Burrow in that respect. So, but we'll have to see. Injuries were a big thing last year. Let's see how they bounce back this year. On to
your quarterback's injured and don't put him out there.
On to the Cleveland Browns here, and they're trying to pretend, I guess, like they're going to be relevant. Exactly. So the biggest one, and probably the biggest head scratcher too, Jerry Jeudy. Actually, two of them: Jerry Jeudy and Jameis Winston, of all people.
I somewhat get Jameis Winston. He's a backup.
Yeah. Well, it's like, why'd you get Tyler Huntley then too?
Exactly. Well, they go through quarterbacks there.
They do, and at least they got 2 Pro Bowlers.
But you know what the Jerry Jeudy reminds me of? A Bo.
Oh my God!
All that money on an AFC West wide receiver and nothing. Just nothing. And that's just what I could picture Jerry Jeudy being.
I was thinking like more Amari Cooper, but it's like, yeah, Amari Cooper was at least, serviceable. Oh man, this could easily blow up in their face. Obviously the biggest loss has to be Joe Flacco. No, I'm kidding. Losing their linebackers, Taki and Anthony Walker. Their defense was fantastic last year, obviously because of Myles Garrett. But it'll be interesting to see how they build back up from that in the draft. Do they potentially go quarterback and maybe go for the future? This could be a team that might trade up for it.
I don't know. I think you give. I mean, you're in a terrible situation, but you gotta give Deshaun Watson at least one more shot. Maybe this is a year to get that star guy. Maybe this is the year to trade up and get that Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, go with that. Then Deshaun Watson, if he truly flops, you got the pieces all around where you could put a quarterback in.
Sure. Well,
one of the funny things was Devin Bush. I literally wrote, "Ha ha." I still remember where we were when we drafted him. We were at Side Pockets. We're sitting there, and we traded up.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, I mean, so much hope, and he just never grew.
Didn't live up to the expectation that was, but then again, like I said, those linebackers are to the Steelers what the running backs are to the Ravens. So maybe it's like the quarterbacks are to the Cleveland Browns.
Maybe.
Every AFC North team has their vice that it just never develops fully.
Well, on to the best team in this division by far.
Wait, we already went by the Ravens. No, I'm kidding.
Screw you. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers, and so long, Kenny P. The wide receiver, I mean, the QB room, not the wide receiver room. The QB room is cleared out. We completely rebuilt our QB room in one season. So I don't know about rebuilt. We revamped. It's been repainted. There's hope. But Russell Wilson comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I was like, oh my gosh, we actually did something splashy. Who knew? We could actually do that. I was a fan of this all along because Denver paying.
Mm-hmm.
If Denver wasn't paying and we'd have to pay like $30 million a year, out. I'm out. But 1.2 million, there's no risk. There's literally no risk at this point. We had 6 touchdowns by Kenny Pickett last year. He did like 26. Our offense is better. And people who say it isn't don't know what they're talking about. Then
the bombshell. Then the bombshell. Please
getting rid of Kenny Pickett.
Tell the class where you were when both of these things happened.
So I'm in Paris, and all of a sudden I'm getting texts like, "Holy cow, Kenny Pickett's released!" I thought it was jokes. Like, I don't have access to everything that I had here. So of course I start burning up minutes. I'm really not looking forward to my cell phone bill, but looking, and sure enough, Kenny Pickett, that he's out. He's not going to compete with Russell Wilson. Dumbest move ever, because we just have him for a 1-year deal. I mean, if you're that insecure that you can't beat Russell Wilson,
and you think you have a better shot at beating Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, I don't think he knew he was going to go to the Philadelphia Eagles.
No.
I think that was Khan saying, yeah, you don't want to be number 2? Well, you're going to be number 2 because we're taking this number 3 pick.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best thing on the table, and we don't owe anything to you. So he's gone. So I'm like, wow, Russell Wilson is our only QB. Like, what is going to go on here? We get Justin Fields for a 6th-round pick.
Wow.
Conditional, but 6th-round pick. We got a 3rd-round pick for Kenny Pickett. I mean, it's insane. And Justin Fields also threw more touchdowns than Kenny Pickett. Our QB room improved. But so the condition is if he plays 51% of the snaps, we give him a 4th-round pick. Mm-hmm. He's not going to do it. The Steelers aren't going to let that happen. Patrick Queen, already talked about him. Mm-hmm. Deontay Johnson traded to the Panthers.
For a Dante Jackson. For
Dante Jackson. This one, I mean, I had hopes for him. Big Ben really liked him. He did do some cool stuff with us. He was dangerous at points, but he always ran backwards. First down's right there. Runs backwards. We can't get first downs in this offense. Why are you not taking a first down?
Insert clip right here of him fumbling with no one touched him and also giving up on a play on a fumble.
That's the biggest crime. When he gave up on that play, he was pretty much dead to me. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, if you're getting paid millions and you're going to give up on a play when we're seriously in contention. I mean, we weren't out by any means, and you're going to give up on a play. So I think that's why Khan said, "Yeah, you're going to the crappiest situation in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations."
So my
Allen
question.
Robinson
Yep.
didn't do anything.
No, I didn't do anything to it. Like my question for you now is this offseason for the Steelers goes against every single little bit of the Steeler way of the standard of the last 20 years at least. Is this a move you think where the ownership or board or whatever you want to call it is telling Mike Tomlin, your seat's starting to get a little warm there, buddy. You,
Oh,
you.
he did. Yeah. So, I mean, Rooney, he said, enough's enough on these first round exits. We need a playoff win. And that kind of laid it down. That sent the message to Khan, and that sent the message to Tomlin. We need to be aggressive. And he's all in.
Rooney took Jerry Jones' words and actually put them into action.
Yeah. We making some changes.
Absolutely.
Oh, but I mean, there's hope. Like I said, we got better at the QB position. Russell Wilson, all we're asking for is 21 points, and that can come on the backs of our running backs.
Mm-hmm.
If you just get us there, get us to 21 points, and if our defense stays healthy, we are suddenly a very dangerous team in the AFC just by scoring 21 points. If we scored 21 points last year in all those games, we would have been sitting very
much more pretty instead of the literally the 7th seed.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, moving on down to a team that was quite a bit of a surprise last year, to be honest, especially in the situation that CJ Stroud was into, first year head coach. Holy smokes. And then we go into the offseason and like, wow, they not only won a playoff game, but now they've got a lot of cap space to work with, and boy howdy, did they make great use of it. We're talking Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Danielle Hunter from the Vikings off a hell of a year, Danico Autry, Aziz Al-Shaair, Jeff Okudah, CJ Henderson. I mean, they went out this year, and they are not going to be satisfied with a divisional round loss. They want to go for it all, and I have to say, they've got the team around them to do so, even with the loss of Grenard, who actually had a fantastic season last year, and Perriman and Cashman. Steven Nelson, the veteran in that aspect, he had actually one of his best years ever last year. Steven Nelson did. I still forgot he was still playing, but I've got Houston in my book taking the South every day of the week.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's going to be very interesting, that Chiefs-Houston matchup.
Mm-hmm.
See the old guard versus kind of what the Chiefs were with a young Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
They had all the money to spend on the Stephon Diggs and stuff. This is going to be a very interesting year for them.
Absolutely, and they don't even have to pay a whole lot. The Stephon was basically retaining the rest of his Bill's salary at this point too, so they jumped on a very positive decision here or situation here. And Stephon, with those cryptic tweets, he hinted at it, said trade me and find out. I think we're about to find out.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty. Well, a team that was it was starting to come along even with Anthony Richardson being injured, but Indianapolis Colts kind of quiet on their front. Obviously losing Zach Moss and Isaiah McKenzie. They signed that big extension with Michael Pittman Jr. But yeah, I've kind of see them in the similar situation as the Bengals. It's time to see what Anthony Richardson could do when fully healthy for a season.
Oh yeah, he started out with a lot of promise. Hats off to Gardner Minshew for trying to stabilize that. It's if Anthony Richardson and why am I going blank on the running back? Jonathan Taylor. That could be a very good and dangerous duo there. Are they going to go? The Colts have to be the favorites to land Harris Jr. Trade up, get the son of the player that you had everything with.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Richardson and Harris, that'd be pretty awesome.
Shane Steichen. I mean, can't say enough about him. He's still trying to keep him, in the loop of it. Even his first year as a head coach too, with the backup quarterback situation. So interesting to see what he can do with a year of Anthony Richardson, maybe hopefully healthy. So, and we'll go on down. Oh boy, we might be here a minute for this one. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Holy smokes, were they busy this offseason. Probably the two biggest ones, Eric Armstead from the San Francisco 49ers, which almost kind of blew up in their face. Gabe Davis, we knew he was going to get paid, and rightfully so. You got Devin Duvernay from the Ravens, and you got a staple of that Buffalo Bills offense in Mitch Morse, their longtime center there. So, I mean, they are I would say they are the biggest threat to the Texans, if you even want to call it a threat. I don't think it's still going to be close, but we'll see how that goes on their end.
You forgot to mention Mac Jones.
Who?
I think's hilarious. Calvin Ridley goes to the Titans. They paid Calvin Ridley
big money,
more than what AJ Brown wanted.
There's no Band-Aid big enough for that. But speaking of the Titans, yes, as we mentioned, their biggest move, one of their biggest moves was Calvin Ridley, and another big move. Hate to see him go, but I love seeing him get paid because he deserves it. L'Jarius Sneed. He was due for a big payday, and someone was going to do it. And I kind of wish we got a little bit better return for him on the trade, but it is what it is. We thank him for everything that he's done for us. He's been to the Super Bowl 3 out of his 4 years of his career as a player.
That's pretty good.
Incredible so far. But, he deserved to get paid. Tony Pollard, the obvious replacement for Derrick Henry. We mentioned Calvin Ridley getting paid a lot of money. People are quick to say maybe too much money. I guess time will tell. But the biggest news, the quarterback of the future, Mason Rudolph, baby.
I hope the best for him. I mean, he kind of got... I mean, you had the Garrett incident with the helmet. And then he just got kind of shuffled to the back. Nothing to see here. And he did well for us this last year. I mean, he got us to the playoffs. I will say that. But hopefully he makes some money there. But
so yes, the loss of Ryan Tannehill, Danico Audrey, Derrick Henry, Al-Shair. The Titans are going to be in rebuild mode, I'm sure, for the time being. They'll have maybe a decent defense, but if oh god dang it, what's the quarterback? Mayo Coffee guy.
Levis.
Will Levis, that's right. If Will Levis makes leaps and bounds here too, good for him. That'll look good for Brian Callahan. But Callahan's got a lot of work to do and try to rebuild this Titans team.
You want to know my bold prediction?
What you got?
As middling or bad as this team sounds, they're still going to finish better than the Raiders.
That would be awesome, in my opinion. That would be hilarious. Well, speaking of the Raiders, we're not quite to them yet, too, but we're on to the AFC West now, starting with the Denver Broncos. And, the top line there says it all. The Russell Wilson experiment flopped hard. Very, very hard. They've got Jared Stidham, who, as of right now, stands as QB1. I am certain they'll probably go for a Bo Nix or a J.J. McCarthy in the draft for quarterback. They went for a wide receiver to replace Jerry Jeudy. They got Josh Reynolds from the Detroit Lions, who had a decent year. Obviously, it was Amon-Ra St. Brown's squad, and there was no getting around that. They go out and get a couple offensive linemen, which was kind of an issue for them last year. They paid that big money to what's his name from the 49ers, and he did not pan out at all. So was it Cushenberry? No, Cushenberry was someone else, a different spot. He was like a guard or something like that. I forget. But yes, Russell Wilson going to Pittsburgh, obviously. Jerry Jeudy going to wherever he went. Yep. Josie Jewell, who is actually, solid linebacker, but probably the biggest one for them on defense, Justin Simmons, who was basically, even like during the Von Miller years, was the heart and soul of their defense. So that's a big name. That's like a L'Jarius Sneed for us. You lose your big name secondary guy. So I think the Broncos are gonna finally embrace the suck, embrace the rebuild this year, and we'll see how it goes for them, I suppose.
Yeah, hope nothing but bad things for them.
Absolutely, and I'm sure you hope nothing. I'm sure you have hope nothing for bad things for this team as well.
No, I really would like to see just one more thing on the Broncos is the video that Perna puts out if Russell Wilson lifts up a Lombardi trophy for the Steelers, knowing that the Broncos paid him to do that.
Just if Russell Wilson gets the Steelers to the playoffs and a playoff win, that video alone would be the price of admission.
Oh, gosh.
All right, well, on to the reigning, defending Super Bowl champions of the world. Trajan, where'd you go? Hold on. I didn't say you can go yet. The Kansas City Chiefs. And things were kind of quiet on the front. Obviously, we were all waiting. No money. We were waiting. We were anticipating who is going to go. Is it going to be L'Jarius Sneed? Is it going to be Chris Jones? Are both going to go? Are both going to stay? The tag on Sneed was smart because the tag on Jones would have been much more worse. Jones, man, that is a hell of a payday. But I have to say, the Chris Jones that I enjoy seeing on the field is worth that. The Chris Jones that makes me want to pull my hair out on the boneheaded decisions that he makes, thinks this might be a bit of an overpayment, a little bit of a stretch. But that's all on him now. It's time for him to prove if he was worth that money. So far, with the resume that he has proven so thus far.
I do have a question on that front.
Yes.
Is Chris Jones' character the character, I got paid, I got to show I'm worth it? Or is this the Chris Jones character of, we've seen it a lot of times, I got paid, I got my bag, I maybe don't have to work as hard anymore?
I would be lying if I didn't think that was in my mind every so often. But what does give me, some, peace about it is that the Chiefs have signed a good majority of the defense around him. Obviously, L'Jarius Sneed, Mike Edwards, and Willie Gay have moved on. But we've got Derek Nottie back. Drew Tranquil got signed to a well-deserved extension. And this was just announced. Mike Dana coming back, too, for the team. Turk Wharton was another one off the top of my head. And we have Trent McDuffie, got Josh Williams, got Brian Cook coming back from injury. So, for the most part, the band's back together. Justin Reed as well. So it'll be good to have that same squad around him. And thank God we still have, Spags. If we had a different defensive coordinator coming this year, then I'd be very nervous. But in Spags, we trust. That defense, that was their best year ever. This past season, it's the reason the Chiefs were in a lot of the games they were last year, to be frank. When the offense dropped the ball quite literally and figuratively, the defense was there to pick up the slack. So we can only hope that they are, just as effective as they were last year, even without L'Jarius Sneed. Still got Nick Bolton, still got Drew Tranquil in the linebacker group. Leo Chanel came into his own. George Karlaftis, his best year ever last year. Hope to see a little bit more of Felix Anudike Uzomah next year. So I'm excited for the defense. Regarding the offense, though, we were excited for about a week when we realized we were getting Hollywood Brown. All right, awesome. We'll have Hollywood Brown on one side, and we'll have Rashee Rice on the other side. At least he didn't kill anyone. That's the only positive in that. That's literally the only positive that I can say in that. At least no one died. But man, did you just shoot yourself in the foot? Plaxico Burress, eat your heart out. God, dang, that sucks so much. Oh man. Because even before that happened, I was still hopeful that we might take a wide receiver in the first round. But I was also open for a left tackle. But now I'm really hoping we get a wide receiver in the first round and hope that there's a good left tackle still awaiting us in the second round or something. Or maybe the other way around. I don't know. I don't know what the plans are in the draft because this situation has changed some things in that front office. I can't imagine a world where they think, oh, no, it's no big deal. You know, he was only one of our most reliable guys last year on our Super Bowl run, and we had high hopes for. So, Hollywood Brown, I'm happy to go ahead.
Great career. He's had a great career. I mean, gosh, his stats alone. I mean, he went over 1,000 yards once.
Mm-hmm. If there's one thing the Chiefs are good at, it's taking mediocre receivers and making them great. Just ask Juju.
He was way better than Hollywood.
I would agree.
This is another MVS signing if I've ever seen it.
Oh my God! Wow. Okay. Hey, you know what? I'm here for it because when it came down to it, MVS was on point when it mattered the most. That's all I gotta say about that. When the game was on the line against the Ravens, Mahomes put it up in the air and he came down with it. When we needed him to get a key third down in the Super Bowl, he was there for it. Excuse me, a key touchdown in the Super Bowl, he got us there. You know? So, you know what? If Marquise Brown shows his best stuff in the playoffs, I'm here for it. Also got tight end Irv Smith, and we did sign quarterback Carson Wentz as our backup. I'm okay with that, considering he was in an Andy Reid-esque type of offense in years past. So that's a good situation for him to be in if he's going to be in a backup. All right, okie dokie. Well, on to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders picking up Gardner Minshew, Jimmy Garoppolo going bye-bye, and maybe going bye-bye for the whole season, considering his whole PED situation, which obviously he was not taking enough of them if he couldn't break the roster.
My conspiracy is the Raiders spiked what he was drinking. They spiked his Gatorade. And then drug tested him.
they gave him Logan Paul's drink instead of the Gatorade, the Prime.
Oh, jeez.
Gardner Minshew quarterback. Their biggest signing obviously has to be Christian Wilkins. They did get running back Alexander Madison. Their losses, though, is hilarious because they lost Josh Jacobs, who for about 20 minutes was part of probably the best running back tandem in the NFL. Him and Aaron Jones, and then obviously Aaron Jones went on to another team. So that was actually hilarious who he went to, but more on that later, probably in the next video. Zamir White, though, will probably be running back one for the Raiders because he showed quite a bit last year.
Flashes.
So rookie year on rookie contract. So we'll see how he do. See how he do.
See how he do.
See how he do. They got what they wanted with Antonio Pierce being their head coach. So, but what are they going to do in the draft? Will they try to find their next quarterback in the draft? Or do you ride with Gardner?
I mean, they're like pick number 9 or something like that.
Are they one of the teams you think that trades up?
I don't know. I mean, we know for sure Chicago's going first.
Mhm.
With Justin Fields leaving, there's no question that they're going to trade down. They're all in. I just don't know. I mean, Mayo would be a good pick, Drake Mayo.
Mhm.
Um, and then you'd have two Justin Herberts in the AFC West. Um,
as
I
long
don't
as long as he's just as clutch as that Justin Herbert, then that's fine with me. Uh,
Ice in his veins.
ice in his veins.
Oh man. Yep. No, I don't know. We'll see.
Hard to say. We'll see come draft time. But I'll tell you about our last team here. They were pretty busy this offseason. Not even in the player situation, but in the front office and the head coaching situation. Tom Telesco leaving the team, and you've got Jim Harbaugh coming in along with GM Joe Hortitz. You get Gus Edwards, Denzel Perryman. You get Will Dissly. You get Hayden Hurst. This feels very plug and play to me. I don't know about you, especially losing Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Jalen Guyton, Austin Eckler, Josh Kelly, Jarrell Everett. All they have left is Quentin Johnston and Josh Palmer. I swear. That's all they have.
They're a team. See, the best thing about the cap situation that they were in last year, going into this year, and Justin Herbert going down when he did, was they have a high draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, let's see, where are they at? Where are they? Oh, it's not showing them team by.
Says they
They're
have
number
9.
5 overall.
They are number
They
5.
get
Yeah.
number 5, then 37th pick, 69, nice. 105 and 110 from the Bears, 140, 181, and then 7th round pick, unless you're getting a Purdy, it doesn't really matter. But number 5 pick, could they see? I mean, Keenan Allen's gone.
Mm-hmm.
There's some wide receivers coming in this draft.
Yes.
They have to go wide receiver almost, it seems like.
I don't know. They were pretty high on that Quentin Johnston pick, and
It may have worked out better than Rashee Rice, though.
yeah, in the long run, it maybe so. God. You know what? And this is a very bold prediction here too. What if we see them trade up and try to go after Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I mean,
Try to get that big weapon for Justin Herbert.
could you imagine, though, him having a young weapon like that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
him be what Quentin Johnston was supposed to be.
here's the thing. I really, really want the Chargers to do well. Not because I like the Chargers, but because I dislike the Chiefs. And it would make my year, my decade, if the Chargers won the AFC West and you guys do not make the playoffs for your lauded three-peat. That's not going to happen.
I'm going to save that clip so hard when it happens. And I will play it to you at the Super Bowl party.
I'm not going. It's not happening.
I will drag you there, kicking and screaming. I will tie you to the chair.
It's not happening.
With the apparatus from A Clockwork Orange keeping your eyes open. And I'll sprinkle eye drops in your eyes so you can't go blind. Oh, man. Alrighty. Well, god dang, that was nearly an hour. But that is the AFC, and boy, oh boy, just wait till we get to the NFC next week. Holy smokes. God dang. Yeah, there were a lot of moves, and there are going to be a lot more moves in the draft. We'll go ahead and let you know this now, too. We will be doing a live react of our team's picks in the NFL draft, which will quickly go into a video with our post-draft thoughts That will be our next video after the draft and after the NFC free agency frenzy video that we will be doing as well. Trajan, any closing thoughts before we wrap this up for the AFC?
It's the only thought you need to see. Right here, man. Right here. Adding another one of these to the mix here. You know, one of these. It's happening. Get used to it.
Don't knock Najee off. It's funny, you held up the towel and it only said terrible on there. I'm like, foreshadowing maybe.
No, that's your guys' season.
Oh man, how dare you? How dare you, sir? All righty. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching. We are super excited to be back for season 4 of our Sportcast, our podcast, our show, whatever you want to call it. We're just happy to be here. We're just here so we don't get fined. But thank you again, everybody, so much for watching. Click like if you enjoyed this video. Click subscribe if you really enjoyed it. Tell all of your friends. Leave a comment down below. What was your biggest surprise of the free agency frenzy on the AFC side? We'd love to hear from you here, too. Thank you, everybody, again for watching. This is Temple and Trajan, signing off.